Today I want to talk about alcohol and the effect that it can have on your sleep. So this graph right here is a nice, very simple visual representation of what sleep can do as you have more and more drinks. And you can see as you get it from 3 to 4 or 5 drinks, it starts to moderately affect the quality. Notice it says quality, not quantity, not the amount of your sleep, but the quality of sleep. So we're going to go through a couple bullet points, and then I'm going to circle back to this graph. The first one is that basically what alcohol does is it sedates the body. I always give the example of if you got knocked unconscious, you would not be sleeping, you're just unconscious, you're just not responsive. And that's kind of, alcohol is kind of a middle combination, a kind of a gray area of the two, where yes, you are sleeping, but it is not to the same effect. And one of the reasons that is because you get less REM sleep. So REM usually comes at the end of that cycle. We've talked about that. There's 90-minute cycles that comes at the end. When you have consumed a certain amount of alcoholic beverages, it starts to lessen the amount of REM sleep. And I always think this is interesting because it's kind of a vicious circle where a lot of times you'll hear that people are consuming alcohol because they're a little bit anxious or they're a little bit nervous or stressed out, etc. And when you do that and then you go to sleep, you don't get a lot of those benefits from REM sleep where they would be anxiety reducing. That's one of the benefits that we looked at a couple videos ago about REM sleep as a very big supporter of your anxiety and stress relief, that natural mechanism that your body uses to kind of deload some of your mental thoughts. When you don't get as much REM sleep, you are more likely to be anxious, stressed, overreact to things. So basically you drink because you're stressed and then sleep quality suffers, so you're more anxious the next day, and then the cycle kind of repeats itself. You want to make sure you don't allow that to continue to happen frequently. Fragment your sleep. This is actually something that's just come out only recently, and a lot of studies they're seeing now that people actually end up intermittently waking up and not realizing that they woke up, where they go out of those sleep cycles are actually conscious but do not realize that they're conscious because it's just a brief period of time. But it does have a big effect because it stops your sleep cycle. So right when you go back to sleep, even if it was just a few seconds, it doesn't mean that you're going to start off in the same place. You might start the cycle over again, so you missed the last couple of stages. Body temperature and heart rate are elevated. This is one of the reasons that alcohol kind of inhibits those last couple stages, especially deep and specifically REM sleep, is because the body prefers a certain very specific set of criteria and environment. It likes a cool temperature, a lowered heart rate, lowered blood pressure, things along that line. So as everybody knows, alcohol kind of raises your heart rate, raises your blood pressure, so it doesn't ever let your body get comfortable with the idea of going through all of those phases. So you might get more sleep, which I know is something that some people use alcohol for. They'll say, well, after a couple of drinks, I relax, I go to sleep. That's true. But if you're getting more sleep, but the total quality is suffering significantly, then the total itself is not going to be as much. You might have gotten an hour of additional sleep, but if the entire night you spent only in lighter stages, it's not going to equal out to be the same. So circling back to this graph here, you can see how important this is just in considering, 1 or 2 drinks, not nearly as bad, but as you start getting from 3, 4, all the way up to 6 to 7, it starts to significantly impair your quality of sleep, which, you can see as the days progress that, that kind of builds up and it accumulates and it has a bigger compounding problem. So you just want to make sure you keep this in mind. This does not mean that you cannot drink. It just will make sure that you want to, one, limit the amount of drinks that you're having. And 2, try not to make this consistent. You also don't want to do, every day I'm having 2 or 3 drinks, trying to stay into that green section. Well, if every day you're only getting 80% of the sleep that you normally would get, that obviously is going to have a big impact later on. So trying to limit the amount of drinks you have and then making sure that you're not making this an every single day habit, those things right there will improve the quality of your sleep.